All right. And we are live. Here we go.
Boom.
Welcome to Earl and the Idiot, the show that gives you the answers you need to take your business to the next level. With Earl Flormata, one of Vancouver's most sought-after business and marketing consultants, author of Business Engine Optimization, consultant to over 60 successful businesses, an all-around evil marketing genius with a combined total of more than $70 million worth of sales to his credit. And some idiot. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go
Oh my
indeed.
gosh. I think it's really appropriate that we are delayed in starting today's episode.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, a little bit.
I was just thinking that on the drive over today. I was like, this actually works out just fine.
All good. All
All
good.
good. Yeah. I got home a little faster because Google apparently doesn't calculate you being in the carpool lane. So
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
yeah, scored a couple minutes on that front.
Shaved a little bit off there. That always makes sense.
Bit delayed. All right. Hi everybody. Welcome to Earl and the Idiot. You heard the intro. I'm late. I didn't have time. This is my office.
Your virtual background office.
This is
Since you
mine though. I designed this in AI. I actually
Oh, cool.
instructed AI. I went through several iterations. So this is hopefully an office I'll actually have one day with
Nice.
this Eames chair sort of awkwardly in the way of
Nice.
my computer.
Yeah. How do you put your legs underneath the computer? But whatever. I guess that's not important.
But yeah. But yeah, this is my default background. And I didn't have time to make a
Custom one. It's all
proper
good.
background speak. So just start by saying how the show works. I'm still kind of getting into show mode here. On the show, we ask ChatGPT about business things, subjects, issues related to business. We get it to do a show outline for us. I want to cover. We go through it and we discuss it. We say if it's good, we say if it's good advice, bad advice, why it's good advice, why it's bad advice, and we
It's like
depend on our resident Earl here to bring us nuggets of wisdom. I'm here to ask stupid questions and get the good information. Now, this week we were very fortunate to have our Earl this week.
oh geez.
Earl was very nearly lost to the wilds of just parts of Canada unknown. uh,
It
distant,
was an adventure. It was an adventure.
yeah, distant corners of peculiar airports in the frozen wastelands of the Canadian prairies somewhere. We don't know.
There you
Uh,
go.
for those of you, probably if you've made it this far to following Earl around, you're also following him on social media, so you were kept abreast of what was going on with WestJet. We're calling him out.
Oh, oh yeah, sure, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
I said their name on the rants, so
Yeah.
because yeah,
Earl had fun with WestJet. How quickly can you summarize what occurred to you on your trip out to Toronto, or would it
basically,
take the rest
if
of the
you could,
show?
if no, well, if you could play airport bingo, and every time that something screwed up, you yell bingo. I think I blacked out the entire card. So lost luggage both ways, check.
Nice.
Got delayed both ways, check. Got trapped in and outside of an airplane, check. Yeah, got delivered to the wrong location and it had to be redelivered someplace else afterwards the next day,
Hang on,
check.
not just your luggage, but you personally were taken to the wrong place.
I was supposed to go to Quebec. They shipped me to ship my ass to Toronto, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll drag your ass to Quebec tomorrow." After I'm like, "But that's when I'm supposed to be at the event," and so
Wait, hang on. Was the
I
event in Toronto or Quebec?
Quebec.
Oh, I thought it was in Toronto. Okay.
No, they shuffled me off to Toronto, and then they put me in Quebec because at least it's closer than Vancouver, right? So
So okay, they're like, well, we don't have the right plane for you, but we'll just get a kind of close enough plane for you.
yeah, and then we'll put you up at a hotel for a night, and then we'll shuffle you over in the morning. I'm like, all right. So yeah, so it
Without your
was
luggage.
basically anything you could have screwed up, it screwed up. It was pretty good. So
Nice. I guess that's one of the advantages of having your own podcast is any shitty thing that happens to you is just repurposed for content later.
yeah, no kidding. So it turns into pretty good content. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, there we are, 20 minutes. See, it's like
Right
we
on
never went
time.
away. Right on
Dive
time.
right in.
We're
Dive
gonna
right in.
dive right into it. So you asked ChatGPT. Now I figured this out. Here's the only thing I don't know. When you were making your updates, did you have
Uh-huh.
ChatGPT help you write it, or did ChatGPT create a complete Earl avatar?
So I used ChatGPT to write the script
Hmm.
because I was in such disarray.
Yes.
So I
Hmm.
was just broken. And so,
Hmm.
I just complained to ChatGPT and said, you know what? Fuck it. Turn this into a video script for me. Keep it about a minute long and use
Yeah.
Earl's voice to make it, sarcastic, funny humor, self-deprecating. And it did the whole thing. I'm like, that's sweet. And so I just threw it on the teleprompter and then just ranted, right? Because
Nice.
that's
I no longer
cathartic.
trusted anyone. When I saw you ranting, I was like, is this an AI avatar of Earl ranting, or is it actually Earl
No, no,
ranting?
that was legitimately me, but I was using a teleprompter because I was just so broken I couldn't think straight.
Well, doing it that way, of course, is the most Earl thing you could have possibly done. So I respect it.
There you go. So, I mean, it does sound like me. It's stuff I literally would say, and I told it what to say. I just like, but I need you to, bless you, condense
Thank you.
it into 1 minute. Otherwise, I would just
Yeah.
go off on a tangent because
It
I
would
was
have
so
gone off
angry. I'm
on
like, oh my God, like you lost my luggage twice? God damn it. So it's just like, come on.
oh man.
So,
So all right. Well, I'm sure we'll be able to work more of your stories into the prompt here, or into the show as we go, and we get examples of what not to do.
yeah, absolutely. There you
So
go.
I like this. You said, "Hey, ChatGPT, time for another Earl and the Idiot show. I need help with topic ideas. Do you remember my terrible WestJet experience?" I asked this too. I say this to ChatGPT all the time. Remember we talked about so and so? Oh yeah, he remembers.
Mhm.
Um, I was thinking of leaning into more best practices around customer service experiences. Usual 3-2-1 model, three things to do, two things to avoid. One red hot tip for customer service and dealing with business catastrophes. What do you think? Well, here's what it thinks. Earl and the Idiot. Flight mares. Did it come up with that on its
It
own?
came up with flight mirrors. I did not like
That's
you see my exact prompt, right? So it's like flight mirrors. I'm like, awesome. Love it.
why. Why? Okay, so trying to fly somewhere and having it be a shitty experience is common. It's happened countless times throughout human history, and I've never heard the expression of a flight mare.
Yeah,
And ChatGPT just can't. Can we TM that? Hang on. Let me just
maybe.
go into the script here.
That's legit.
TM. Okay, flight mares were I don't know how to format the text, make it a superscript. I'm not going to figure that out on the air. All right. So today's episode apparently is titled "Flight Mares TM" and "Customer Service Done Right." Topic: Customer service best practices when everything goes to hell. Put my
Yep.
microphone back so I stay on screen. Three things to do when you're in crisis mode. One, over communicate like your life depends on it. People don't hate delays, they hate not knowing. Say
Mhm.
something, even if it's we're still figuring it out. Silence equals rage. Earl, you think?
Oh dear, damn! Like holy crap. So, if you follow me on other social media, um, they did this to us multiple times. We're like, okay, so they told us number one, hey, our flight's moving. We got to switch gates, and then so they made us go to a different gate, and then they said, okay, now we're gonna go to anybody who's doing this who has a connecting flight. Y'all got to go to customer service because you're all screwed. I'm like, all right, good, that's
Hmm.
great. So it's already bad news, and then we get the customer service, and we stand in line again like cattle, and it's like Disneyland, but like the ride is shitty, and so you're finished, and it's like, okay, we're gonna send you an email. So just sit around and we'll send you an email. I'm like you couldn't have just announced this to all of us, and then they did, and they didn't tell us all to sit in the same spot. So the rest of us kind of dispersed across the airport, and so when it was time to give us updates, they had to go find us. I'm like, you idiots. Keep us in one spot. There's like
Yeah,
giant swaths of empty chairs
corral us
where
up.
and there were like 30 of us, right? So it was not like a small, that one, two people like this, it discombobulated. No, 30 people got screwed. I'm like, dude, this is rough. And
Hmm.
so, and no one knew what we were doing. And so I would just jump from chair to chair as I went finding airport snacks. And Yeah. And that was that. So over communicate like your life depends on it. Like don't just tell people sit around and wait for an email. Like just tell us. Like and reassure us every 20 minutes. Yo, don't worry, we're still working on it. We haven't forgotten you. You're not abandoned. Right. So over communicate in times of crisis is important. And I know it sounds like extra redundant, like every 20 minutes, don't worry, we're okay. Don't worry, we're okay. But when your flight
Yeah.
is delayed from, 6 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you panic a little, right? If
Yeah.
there's no set thing, especially if there's transfers and there's multiple parts to the flight and the trip and everything else. So over communication, absolutely. Like we've had like burn down situations where shit hit the fan, right? Like something, like for example, hacked as an example. Like, oh no, we got ransomware. And so, like over communication is super key when they're talking to the rest of their constituents, talking to the rest of their customers, talking to whatever. If you over communicate, you will never be accused of silence equals rage, right?
Yeah.
Because man, it was rough.
There was lots of rage to go around.
Oh my god, everybody was just, and it was just random people scattered across the airport angry because they didn't corral us into one spot and contain the situation, right? So
I I'm scanning my brain for a specific example, but I know it's happened to me so many times where I get super angry at a business that's giving me a hard time, making my life less good instead of more good.
it's Facebook.
And what's that? Facebook.
Facebook.
Well, that's yeah. I mean, that obviously happens. That's God. I just yesterday or like 2 days ago, I was working with a client and I needed to get access to his Facebook page, and
Mhm.
they changed it again.
Oh dear Lord.
Every single time I've ever had to get access to a client's Facebook page, I have to check because they always change it. It's always
Yeah.
somewhere new and it's called something different. It used to be called page rolls. Page rolls is gone. It's now called access or some goddamn thing. But that's aside the point.
Over
Um,
communication, right? And like one of
yeah.
the things with over communication also means that you have to update all your old shit, right? So, like for example, this show used to broadcast to Twitter/X back when you didn't need the premium version of
Mm.
Twitter/X to broadcast, and the ability to find the button to broadcast was hidden. And I swear I went through, I don't know, a dozen videos of how to do it, and every single one of those videos the model was deprecated, right? So
Right.
it's, oh yeah,
Yeah.
we don't do it that way anymore, we called it something else and it's in a different freaking site or tab or like, okay, well that's good, get rid of the old ones, like
Yeah. Go flush out your old user manuals, your old videos, right? But
or just find it and just hyperlink to the current date edition, right? Like, oh yeah, by the way, that's how we did it back in 2019, but here's how to do it today, right? And slap the year on it so that way we're not following old materials.
yeah.
So over
But
communication.
the point I was getting at, like you got me off on a Facebook rant, which is easy to do. Um, but the point is, I've had so many experiences with customer service where I don't mind that there was a screw up.
No.
I understand there's a screw up. It's the way they communicated to me that pissed me off. That's almost every time.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I look at, like I don't know, a bank account, there's a mischarge or whatever there. I go, okay, sort this out. Call up the bank and
Totally
say,
cool.
if they're
Yeah.
like, mischarge, oh my goodness, sorry about that. Let's check on what's going on. Okay. All right, I see the problem. Listen, this is going to take us 2 days to sort out.
Cool.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, but that's communication, right? Like when the luggage was lost at the customer service desk, there's a bunch of us standing in a row, and like the luggage person took it like personally, like as if they had personally lost our luggage and told us to fuck right off. And I'm like, I understand it's not your fault, but what are we gonna do about it, right? And so yeah,
Yeah. And have a little empathy. Like, don't be so defensive of yourself. Like, oh my God,
like we're
why did
not
it's not
blaming
my fault?
you. We
Yeah.
understand it's not your fault. We understand you're the mouthpiece, right? But
Yeah. I actually, here's one. We went to a restaurant and uh giant, not just a hair, but like a ball of
dude,
hair like that
that's
in the
rough.
fries. Yeah. And the waitress said like, "Oh, obviously that food won't appear on your bill." It's like, that's it. This is horrifying, right? So she'd already pissed us off, and then we get up to leave, and there's a manager there, and we're like, "Oh, you're the manager." He's like, "Yeah, I'm the manager," and we say what just happened, and he goes, "I don't know, I just got here."
Wow.
Never went back, and that restaurant has gone out of business. Actually, the entire chain went out of business. It was Night and Day. Remember them?
Yeah.
They're gone. Don't exist anymore.
Yeah,
And it's all
absolutely.
because of that
So,
one ball of hair in the food and the poor manager's handling of it.
well, it's the attitude by which they handle it, right? Like people expect stuff not to go perfect every single time.
Yeah.
But, while they're in distress, if you tell them to go to hell in a handbasket and, here's your customer service on the stick, go fuck yourself. Yeah, man, like that's not okay, right? Like, people are upset and scared, right?
Yeah.
So,
If like we were on our way out, we didn't really need him to do anything at that point, the manager. You know what I mean? We're
but
like, we're
just
already,
the, oh, I'm sorry you had a bad experience here.
yeah.
Here's my
Even,
card. Give me a call
yeah.
next time you're coming. I'll take care of it personally myself.
Yeah.
Really,
Even if,
you, yeah,
even if he just said, yeah, you know what? I heard about this. I just got here. I'm going to get to the bottom of this for you. Or I'm going to look into what the fuck happened.
that's all we
Even
need.
that,
Just
I would have, great.
just make us
Good.
feel like humans, right?
The situation's getting handled and you understand it. All right.
Absolutely. So, all right,
Venting,
moving right
bending
on.
over for now until we get to the next one. Number 2, empower your frontline team. That poor gate agent shouldn't need VP level approval to rebook someone. Give them tools, authority, and a human voice. Would this have made a difference?
If so, the thing is, they didn't necessarily have the approvals to rebook people. They didn't have the capacity. They're just a customer service agent. But, you know, giving them structure and scripts and training. Okay. So one of the things that they said, they did this story was they gave us a bunch of coupon codes to go get food. But number one, they never told us where we could use them. So I'm calling on like an idiot going, hey, can we use it at the hotel? Can we use it at this place? Can we use it? No. You can only use it at the airport. I'm like, oh, okay. And they never told us, oh, by the way, it expires today. So you have to use this stuff today. So while I was sitting in the baggage claim, one person's like, hey, did you use all your food tickets? I'm like, no. And they're like, oh, it expires today. Oh, crap. Right. And so I just bought everything I could buy from Subway because it was the only thing left open at stupid o'clock at night. Yeah. And so I just had an abundance of Subway. So like it made my experience even worse. It's not like I don't like it's not like I don't $60 worth of Subway. It's very difficult to eat $60 worth of Subway and remain sane. And so but damn, like if I could spread it out, do a couple different things, get different stuff. Here's a snack, here's a beef jerky, whatever. If you freaking told me that it expired today, I would have planned ahead, right? But again, that goes back to the empowering your frontline team, training your damn team so that they can handle the explosions, right? Because that's kind of their job, right? So, make it so that they don't stress out and then apply for stress relief, right?
So let me ask you this. Of your entire journey.
Yes.
Of the negative emotions associated with the entire journey. Okay. Mm-hmm. What percentage of those negative emotions were because the mistake happened or because of the delay? And what percentage was you were handled poorly after the mistake happened?
100% of the handled poorly.
Wow.
Right.
You would have been 0% annoyed if your plane was delayed?
It's fine. Shit happens, right? Like, if the plane's not safe to fly, don't fly it. That's cool. But if you just told us and stop giving us like false hope, right? And send us corralling around the airport like a bunch of lost sheep, like I would have done things much differently. There was a first class lounge and you could pay to play. And had I known, I would have been trapped for there that long and said that, hey, it's going to be this long. If you told me, hey, you're going to be stuck here from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m, I realize they don't have control over that. That's fine. But I could have spent how much time in the first class lounge and had a time of my life, right?
Right. But so you were cool with the delay, but then they just handled it badly.
They handled it terribly. Right.
Right. So, this is the empower your frontline team. So this isn't just airlines. We should make sure we're applying this to
no, this is everybody.
As well.
If stuff explodes, you empower your frontline team because they're the ones who are going to take the brunt of the heat from the customer, right? And if you can give them like, you know what your standard is for paying back the customer and giving them, hey, here, we're sorry, right? But if the frontline team cannot express that, it's just going to get doubly worse, right? The customer will get angrier, not knowing what's happening, and then being treated poorly, and then the frontline team being not so trained so well, right? So it just makes it worse. It takes a bad situation and makes it a worse situation, right?
Exactly. Here this just relates to empowering your frontline team. I went to the convenience store by my house, and you know the thing on the door that when you let go of the door that it closes back again. The thing, that little arm at the top.
Yeah,
it had come off. It had pulled loose, right? And so the back end of it was hanging down with 4 screws in it facing the customers.
Oh, excellent. So here's some screws to the face, and you're not a short dude, so you're in actual danger of being actually screwed.
Right.
So
I opened the door. I go, "Oh, hey, I'm fine," or whatever. And the little girl behind the counter, like she's really young. I think it's a family thing. She's like, "Oh yeah, that pulled out. The landlord says he's coming to fix it." And I'm going, "Well, this is a problem.
This is a hazard. Put a sign.
Do you have a screwdriver?" And we eventually rustle around for a screwdriver. I'll make it short in the story. And we find a screwdriver, and I get up there, and I'm tall enough to reach it without a stool. And I pull this thing off, and I hand it to her. I go, "There, now we wait for the landlord to arrive." And she's grateful and everything. And then I go to pay for my goods. It was like, $10 worth of stuff. If I'd been if I'd been working at my coffee shop and that happened, I would have said, "Coffee's on me."
Absolutely.
Right? "Hey, thanks for that. Coffee's on me." She never even made a move to thank me in the form of, "Oh, don't worry, just take that stuff."
Even if she gave you a 10% discount, 20% discount, because she's a low-level frontline employee, right? And but the problem is that, number one, who knows if she had the power to say that? Two, who knows if she was trained to say that, right?
Yeah.
So that empower your frontline team also involves training. And if you don't give your people training during emergency situations, they'll crumble just like everybody else. And then it'll piss off all your customers, and it'll cost you way more than the training costs to do.
Yeah. I'm not that bitter about it. It's just the only example I was able to think of, and it happened recently.
No, fair enough.
And also, I didn't help to get free stuff. I helped because I like helping, just for the record.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely.
All right.
Moving to the next one.
Number 3, apologize and offer real compensation fast. Not, "We're sorry for the inconvenience," copy paste drivel. Say sorry like you mean it. Then give value, upgrades, credits, vouchers fast. I'll just, before we relate this to the story, it just reminds me of when you're waiting on hold and they say, "Thank you for your patience." And I always say that thing and going, "You don't know I'm being patient. I'm waiting because I have to. I might be over here seething with rage. You don't know."
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, just going back to the thing where it says apologize and offer compensation fast. This goes back to the empowering your front time. This goes back to over communicating. This goes back to training, because of such an emergency, right? And so, like a good example of this would be Starbucks right away fixes stuff, right? So I don't know if you saw the rant the other day where someone stole my drink. So you know how you can pre-order stuff and they put it on the counter. You look for your name, you find your drink, and then you take your drink and you wander off. Apparently, someone absconded with my drink, and I'm like, "What the hell?" And so I get there, they know me because I'm there every day, and they look at me and they're like, and they look at the drink, they look where the drink was, and look at me, they look at the drink was, the drink's not there. They just saw me walk in. They're like, "Someone stole it. I'm making it right now." And so they stopped what they were doing and they just started making my drink. I'm like, "Okay, cool. I would have waited for you to finish the other drink. I'm totally cool." But because they said, "Hey, we're real sorry," like, it's not their fault. It's not the barista's fault that somebody stole my drink, right? But they said sorry, so apologize and offer compensation real fast.
And you were 0% upset, right?
I was 0% upset. Yeah.
Maybe now the guy who stole your drink on the other hand, you'd be upset. But
Well, I hope they screwed it up and he gets bad milk and dies. But yeah. So, and the funny thing is, I think it was total accident because they're like, because I was talking to them afterwards because I know the baristas, and they're like, you know what, we know the guys who are coming in here to steal drinks because you look at them, they're a little shifty eyed, they're looking, they don't even look at the name, they just grab something and then run, and then, but apparently the guy who stole my shit was in a suit. So they're like, they
nope.
never suspected that guy in a million years. I think that guy just absentmindedly grabbed the drink while on phone and wandered off. So who knows?
Didn't we say that on an episode a while ago that if you're going to be a thief, get yourself a nice suit?
We talked about the
We
Starbucks thing.
talked
That
about
was
that.
exactly it. Yeah, we did. And that was a great example. I love Starbucks now. And the funny thing is, their coffee is not that great, right? Comparatively speaking to other like fantastic coffee shops. But because of their service, I'll keep going back.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's like a well-handled mistake can actually cement customer relations rather than injure them.
Absolutely. It's actually better to have a well-handled, structured mistake. So actually, we'll talk about that in the hack of the week. So
Okay. Nice.
all right.
And I'll just say, I think maybe some people might think that apologizing is bad. It's like an admission of guilt or some kind of weakness or something. What was that? I think
No.
it's is it Swimming with Sharks? Is that a Kevin Spacey movie? Is it Never Apologize?
Hmm.
I think he says that in Swimming with Sharks as advice to the younger kid. Never apologize. It's a sign of weakness.
I disagree with that.
Totally disagree.
Disagree. Plus we're Canadian. Even our buses say sorry. So
yeah, it's true. All right, 2 things to avoid at all costs. 1, blame shifting or saying it's out of our hands. The customer paid you, not the weather gods. Own the experience, even if it's not your fault. I wish I could pay them.
dude, I would totally pay the weather gods. Speaking of weather gods, they were pissed off while we were in Quebec. We were sitting in the hot tub, and so there's 2 hot tubs at this resort, and one of them is inside, one of them is outside. I'm like a complete moron because it's raining and there's a thunderstorm outside. I'm thinking, let's go on the inside one. I go to the inside one. There's nothing there, and there's nobody there. I'm like, where the hell is everybody? I go outside, everybody's there. Like, where the hell were you? I'm like, I was inside, and they're like, why? I point up, and then the thunder just like on cue hits, and I'm like, that's why, right? And the hilarious thing is that the thunder clouds and the storm is passing through. It's passing by us, and we hear the lightning strike, like just a little. We saw it hit the ground, like wow. Time to get out of the pool, and so water conducts just enough.
I just like the idea of you sort of thoring the lightning. That.
What's the reason? Click, doom, and it was like a very like intimidating thunder sound. So there you go. So yeah, blame shifting or saying it's out of our hands. People understand that for the most part. You're gonna get the crazies, the 10% who are just absolutely, batshit nuts. Who doesn't matter what you say, it's always your fault, and that's okay. I mean, that's just the populace, and that's fine. But for the most part, people understand that the customer service guy, don't kill the messenger, right?
Yeah. By the way, how'd the conference go?
The conference itself was freaking amazing. So nice. The actual thing was really good. Just the way there and the way back, not so good. So,
did you have a suit to wear when you arrived?
I did. I was speaking on the second day, thankfully.
Oh, okay, so you got time for your luggage to arrive. In all the flying I've did, I only ever had my luggage not arrive one time. I've been on more planes than I can remember, and only one time in all that did my luggage not arrive. And in that instance, they just said, "Give us your address. We will drive it to you tomorrow." Came by with a van and gave it to me.
That happened to me in the Bahamas. It was my first speaking gig in front of 1,000 people, and I had nothing but the clothes I wore on the airplane. I'm like, that's good. And so yeah. But yeah, they drove it to the hotel and dropped it off, thankfully.
Nice. All right. The second thing to avoid at all costs, making the customer chase the solution. I feel Earl rolling his eyes already.
Oh my God.
If I have to fill out 6 forms, call 3 departments, and wait 72 hours just to know where my bag is, you failed. All right, regale us.
Yeah, this is a thing that happens quite a bit. So actually, funny enough, I have another terrible experience where I went through like an onboarding system and there was these things I had to fill out. And the funny thing is they had all these beautiful systems that showed you all the documents you had to fill and whether they were sent or filled or whatever, except for these two forms. And I'm like, well, why wouldn't you just put those two forms on the platform? That's beautiful, like everything else. I'm not going to name names because I'm still dealing with them, but like why? Like you have this beautiful system, why not use it, right? And that just drives you crazy, right? It's just like you already have it. It's right freaking there. Use your damn system to deliver the forms. Otherwise, people will get confused. Because I went through the checklist and went, yep, 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 got them all. And I responded back, got them all. And they're like, yeah, you got them all. I'm like, except for these two. And I'm like, oh, guys, come on. I don't mind filling out forms. Just if you have a beautiful form filling checklist, freaking use it, right? Um, for the I guess the airplane debacle, there weren't that many forms to fill out because they already had my location, my destination, where I am, where I'm stopping over, blah blah blah, and so it wasn't the forms that filled out; it was the cattling between the gates, like just like okay, now go here, okay, now go. It was like a terrible game of Simon Says, right?
Yeah.
So,
And the idea that they would email you the answers instead of just telling you the answers.
we're all standing right there. Just tell us.
Yeah.
Right? Just tell us the bad news as opposed to making us hit refresh and freak out forever that it's not coming. Is it there yet? Is it there yet? Is it there yet? And then, the hilarious thing was then the announcement they announced and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, check your email. I'm like, you know, you could have just in the same breath could have just told us the answer, right?
It's like when the government is like going to give you money, it usually happens around election season. Oh yeah, we found a surplus. We're going to send everybody $500 or whatever, and they send you a letter telling you you're gonna get $500. ICBC just sent me a letter that I'm going to get $100 from them. It's like just put the check in with the letter, assholes.
Yeah, no kidding. And then they mail you the check separately. Great, thanks.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
All right, what is the red hot tip that ChatGPT thinks is essential for dealing with upset customers? Treat every pissed off customer like your next 5-star review depends on it, because it does. Your recovery game is where loyalty is won or lost. Blow that, and no amount of marketing will save you. That's exactly what we just said. That a well handled mistake can actually improve customer relations.
Well, here's the funny thing: if you did everything perfect, the likelihood of someone giving you a 5-star review is slim, which is weird, right? Whereas if you screwed up a little bit and then made up for it in spades, the likelihood of them giving you a 5-star review is absolutely through the roof, right? It makes it a gigantic experience when things go sideways because they're just used to watching things go sideways and then watching it burn to the ground, right? So that's what their expectation level is. Customer service these days is freaking terrible. Like everywhere you go, it's not good, right? And just because we're so used to being beat up, when you have a good customer service experience, you're actually shocked and appalled, like, holy crap, that was amazing, right? And so, as an example, when I got transferred from WestJet to Air Canada, on point. Everything they did was perfect. I'm like, and so because of the tragedy of WestJet and then the spectacularity of Air Canada, it was such a big juxtaposition. It was like night and day. And they're like, wait, so there's no 10-hour line and 6 million forms to fill out, and you just show up and you're on the plane and you're freaking left on time, and there's a little USB plug where you can charge your shit. I'm like, this is magic, right? And the funny thing is, had that been my normal experience, had that been the thing I got from tip to tail, I would have just been, oh, it was good, right? But because they were so good comparatively speaking to the so terrible, that gap was just a miracle at that point. And looking backwards, it was just regular Joe customer service, regular, expected, hey, the plane said it's leaving at this time, it left at that time, right? But because I was so traumatized, I'm like, it's a miracle. It's a Christmas miracle. Like the fact that we're leaving is a Christmas miracle. And so, it was such a big shot, right? So there you go.
There you go.
All right, we're wrapping it up.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Hack of the week.
Hack of the week. Include mini value add moments. And so there was a study done, and it was a weird study. It was like for servers giving people a mint after their meal. So there was three, kind of structures. It was one mint where you just gave them a mint. That was customary. Here's your bill, here's your mint, thanks. Then there was one with the two mints where you gave two mints. And then there was another scenario where you gave a mint, you wandered off, and you came back and you go, oh, let me give you another one. And that second mint. So again, one mint, two mint, three mints, or two mints, but delay in between the mints. And the first one where you just gave a mint resulted in a 3% increase in tips. Okay. A second mint, just given at the time of the bill delivery, increased it by 14%. So it went from 3 to the base off the 14% increase in tips off the base. Okay. That's freaking humongous. But if you gave them a mint, walked away, wandered back, and so, hey, you know what? Wink, nudge, I'll give you a second one. Just don't tell anybody, right? If you did that once more, it gives it that personal touch, 23% increase. And that's nuts, right? And so it's because and I know I've beat this to death a bunch of times in our show, the number one sales emotion, specifically in this case about giving a tip, is reciprocity. So when you give them a mint, that's expected, right? So a small, tiny lift. When you give them two, they're like, oh, cool, they gave me two. But when you give them one, pause, turn around, come back, give them another one, dude, reciprocity. Like, hey, you did me a solid. Let me tip you proper. Here you go. And the personal touch, and hey, look, there's effort involved, blah, blah, blah. And funny enough, when I told this to ChatGPT, and I said, hey, this is my hack of the week, what do you think? It said WestJet gave me 0 mints. They took away mints I didn't even have, and that's why I'm flying someone else next time. So
they reached into your throat and pulled out the mints you'd already eaten and crushed them in front of your eyes.
Right. It just broke my heart. I'm like, dude, guys, come on. Like, just tell me what's going on, right? So anyway, I mean, that's the wrap.
It's not like they tip on you don't tip on planes. Maybe there should be tips, might improve the experience. But I'm just thinking about this. Yeah, imagine if there was a gate, I don't know, manager, whatever they're called, and he said, "Listen, guys, my shift is over, but I'm going to stick around and to make sure you all get on your flight. You know what I mean? I'm gonna stay 20 extra minutes because I want to make sure everyone gets on. I want to finish this off with you guys or whatever." People will be falling all over themselves to like let the bosses know, let corporate know that this manager went above and beyond. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And it's that reciprocity feature and the personal touch feature. And I mean, that goes a long way, especially what we've been doing lately, right? Like in the age of AI, right? Some things that can't really get replicated is that personal touch. And that's what's going to keep you differentiated in this massive, sea of AI that's hitting us in the face, right? So, until they turn that into the basic standard for artificial intelligence, that's humanity's last stand, right? So yeah, there we go.
Cool. I guess that's a wrap. We managed to squeeze the show in after not missing it for 2 weeks.
Well, I think 1 week we missed it legit, and then the second week I was trapped on an airplane. So
yeah,
I was like, hey, Dan, I'll totally be back in time. I'm going to be back in time. And no, that did not happen.
You said you didn't want to feel like you were being wishy-washy, and I said it's not your fault. You're not being wishy-washy. You're being wished and washed.
Yes, absolutely.
Which I thought was quite clever, to be honest.
I laughed, because if I didn't, I'd cry. So what else are you gonna do?
Right. Hang on, I just gotta check if there's anybody on the Facebook. Oh, no likes this week. They waited around for 15 minutes and then gave up. No shout outs. Nobody gets a shout out this week.
No shout out for you. I think it's because we bailed twice in a row, and I was trapped on an airplane once. So there you go.
We gave bad customer service. We have to apologize for not showing up for 2 weeks. Yeah. We're sorry. Things happen. We're back now. We made sure to get you a show today. And next week, 2 shows. We're going to add value.
No. We're going to give you a show. Wait, turn around and go, wait.
Yeah.
But wait, there's more.
End the show next week and then come back and be like, no, wait, we're going to do another show. we decided that you deserve another show, so we're back.
Bonus show.
Oh, that is
All
brilliant.
right.
Oh, what a great way to end it. All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks, ChatGPT. Thank you, Earl.
Thank you, Dan.
I thank people at the beginning. I usually thank them at the end. Thanks again. Two thanks to everybody for tuning in. We will see you next week. Twice.
All right. Cheers, everybody.
Thanks for listening to Earl and the Idiot. We hope you learned something you can take action on this week. For more information or to contact the show, visit earlandtheidiot.com. And until next time, remember what Shakespeare said. The fool doth think he is wise, but the wise man knows himself to be a fool.
See you later.
What the hell are you doing?
Didn't see that coming, did you?
No, absolutely not.